Hi you guys and welcome. Right away we're hearing this song for you. I think it's To Build a Home by Patrick Watson. And even the beginning part where he's saying like there is a house built out of or made out of something with wooden stairs or halls. Something like this, like the lyrics here are important. I don't remember them exactly at the moment, but they are important. There's this message about being grounded here and the importance of this grounded energy, the connection that we share to Earth, to the nature around, to the animals, to the soil, what is beneath our feet, and the fact that we're a part of that. So sometimes being ungrounded can be the separation from that, right? So this is definitely asking for you to reconnect here in your own way. We all have our own ways of reconnecting. Because when you reconnect to yourself. You get a sense of more peaceful rest as well, or more restful rest. It just really helps for you to feel more calm, nourished, centered. And you still have all of this support in the spiritual realm when you're doing that, okay? So any other important messages for you guys? If you felt called to this reading, whenever you see it, it's yours. Conscious words, very much talking about, what you speak into existence, what intentions that you set, whether consciously or unconsciously, but trying to be more conscious of what you're speaking and how you actually feel about what you are speaking, not how anybody else feels or what is the right thing or the wrong thing to say, or when we get into a situation where we feel pressured to say something specific, or to have to agree or to have to share something we don't want to share, but rather what feels right for you to speak. What are you speaking out? Everything is vibration. A lot of this message is about getting our vibration right, in a sense, and it's not like wrong or right, more just getting it to a place where we feel good about it, because that's ultimately the goal. What makes us feel like we're in a good vibratory state? And it may not be the same thing it always was, because we're always moving, we're always growing. We can transcend what it once was. Maybe at some points we felt in a good vibration, that was a bit lower, and now we're starting to move into a higher frequency vibration, and no longer does the lower one feel good for us. So we're going up, we're moving up or over, however you look at that. Everything is very interconnected as well. Part of what helps your vibration is the nature, okay? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to live in the forest, you can live in a city, right? This can be interacting in any way with trees, plants, bugs, birds, the living around, just the ground itself. Even though groundedness can come in different ways, we can do visualizations. We can visualize roots, for example, coming from the bottom of our feet into the earth, and from the earth to the bottom of our feet, and connecting this way. This is very helpful. We can nourish that root chakra, so eating red foods or listening to root chakra music and so on. But for this particular message, there's a strong emphasis on the animals, the nature, and the vibration they carry, and how that helps you with your vibration as well. Even here, you notice his mind, or their mind, is very much being nurtured, being nourished here with this tree, with the earth. Very, very loving, very calm energy, very nurtured and taken care of, by this earth energy, rather than the head floating up and out. And you don't need to worry as well about not having access to high vibrations when you're grounded. It's quite the opposite. I don't know if that's here for anybody, but I get this a bit through, because there's times where we think, oh, the more and more up we go, the higher we go, the better, the more information we'll get. I don't need to be grounded. But it's not working like this. All that does is stress the body out and make the channel actually blurry, so that we can't even, I just saw 444 on the clock, so that we can't even pull through exactly what we want to pull through. So this is all about, that balance point, that maintenance, that connection actually being where you really come online here and where you really get your vibration high and full. Some of you also are speaking limitations into existence, and that happens sometimes, I understand, but it could be a time where we would prefer to transform that energy into something more creative or productive, rather than to speak about the limitations or to speak more limitations into existence, okay? Yeah, again, it's all about this hidden knowledge. This came out on a TikTok that we made earlier as well, which was very focused on being in a calm energy. Gosh, my dog is so conscious of me and sophisticated that he just walked into another room so that he could choke up the hair that he swallowed earlier. Oh, our animals. I mean, just animals. They're just so amazing, actually, even though that's kind of sad. You okay, buddy? You all good? So yeah, there's this hidden knowledge here, this Akashic records and silent understanding coming through. A lot, again, focused on the conscious words, silent understanding, the inner center point, finding that and understanding that you don't have to force your finding of that. When you connect into the nature, you connect into the animals, you connect to that vibration, you feel such a calm inner groundedness and understanding that it's so much easier to be in a place and a space, at least for who I'm speaking to, where you don't need to speak so much. You don't need to come into that energy, and you know it and you feel it, but sometimes it's hard to let it go. There can be a stress that comes around, where we feel like we've got to say it, we've got to speak it, we've got to get it out. And we encourage that a lot too on this channel, like speak it, get it out, journal it, share it. But there's also a line with everything, there's a balance point with everything, and there's also a point where things shift, the tides change, and it's not always in our best interest to do that, again, depending on circumstance. It's not great to ignore either and to harbor inside. That's not the point here. But there's a lot that's been being cleared out. There's a lot of new information coming through. So in a sense, or in essence, it's making more room for us now to actually be able to focus more on what we want to create rather than to dwell in our traumas or in our past. There is this feeling of moving out of the dwelling. We've been shadowing, shadow work, looking at it, feeling it, and that's beautiful and that's good, and we've been healing. There's also a season where it's going to be time to progress, right? Where it's going to be time to start creating again and moving forwards and looking at what we actually want to speak in, what we actually want to focus on, pull that in, create in. And the messages find at the right time, they align at the right time. Seasons will shift. The truth, it's like we're always getting closer and closer to the next truth. We think, oh, now I understand, now I see, now I know. But when we really see that and we really are in that, we understand that I don't know what I don't know. And even though we always know, consciously we don't always know. It's like this evolution of continually becoming and continually taking another blindfold off and another and another and another. And looking back and being like, wow, 3 years ago, I was like, I'm a bit embarrassed. We don't need to be embarrassed, of course, but there's a feeling of this growth where we keep seeing, and we just keep moving, keep evolving, keep growing. There is a lot of truth here that is coming through, and the truth can be challenging to acknowledge sometimes, because it asks us to acknowledge that we actually don't know. We do and we don't at the same time. So I just feel a lot of this hidden knowledge, the spirit knowledge, the Akasha, what's in our soul, that stuff is being unlocked, it's being released into and integrated into our reality, where we're actually being able to perceive it consciously. And again, the balance point here, the groundedness, the gravity, that's part of what's helping us to bring that truth in, to funnel it in. There's also a need to be grounded here because of this, the mind always trying to comprehend or to logic or reason or deduce. And the mind is such a beautiful, beautiful tool, but sometimes the mind forgets that it's one part of a system. You know, the mind is not the river, the boat, the oar, you in the boat, consciousness itself. The mind is not all of that. It's a part of all of that. It's a necessary part. The mind is almost, I look at it almost as the oar that helps you guide and steer the boat, right? But the boat, for example, like your body, you as your consciousness, as your spirit, your emotions and heart, the river as the universe itself, and the other forces that come along the way outside of us that we don't have much control over, other than our alignment and the way that we are moving with the river. Of course, working against that stream can be very exhausting, right? Thinking we know better than the way of the stream can land us in a bush or on the bank or run us into a rock, right? And then there's some things we just simply have to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this rapid. I can't steer. But the mind tries to take over sometimes. And when we're ungrounded, it gets worse, you know? When we're grounded, it really helps to calm the mind. And sometimes as a quick hack, you know, whether you're at work or you're speaking or you're walking or you're just in your bed, but whatever you're doing, as a quick hack, you can just pull your awareness down into your root chakra. You can speak from this place. Like if I try to speak from my root right now, if I pull in my energy and I'm trying to speak from the very bottom of my root here, I'm seeing the red color that is associated to that, and I'm speaking from this root. We can breathe from this place. We can just focus on this place when our mind is very, very busy. There's also a lot going on with your phone and with media and with noise. It's amazingly helpful in balance. It's great in balance, but you know all too well, out of balance, it's high vibration. We love our phones, we love our devices, we love tech. Thank you. Thank you for all that tech does. But everything has its moderation and balance point, right? So having that in front of your face all day, or in your ears or eyes, or even, you know, having to be in a workplace environment where there's a lot of noise, whatever it is for you, these are things that they just add. What we put into our filter comes out of our filter, right? Some of you aren't in that place at all right now. You're not really dealing with that now. But for who I'm reading for here, for who's attracted to this message, and hopefully we'll find the right description or headline for this to grab you in. But I mean, who needs to be here? But I feel there's just a lot of trying to comprehend things for a long time that can't always be comprehended. There's also no perfect point where you're perfectly healed, or some perfect platform. And that needs to be said here. There's an integration point and you have very well reached it. Will there be more? Yes. Will more come? Yes. But now it's about grounding. It's about connecting. It's about taking care of your vessel here, speaking consciously. Some of you are limiting your creative power as well here. And in a more calm position, you would find the space to feel good about creating. I do think some of you are creating as well. But who I'm reading for, it looks like the sacral chakra here is, it's a bit restricted, okay? One way for you to tune into that creative sacral chakra energy is to create your vision. Whatever it is you're perceiving, have a vision of, whatever you're imagining, exercise these muscles. Whether you write it out, or you paint it, or you draw it, or you sing it, or you speak it, or you build a dollhouse, or you are an architect, you know. I always connect to the architect energy. That's interesting. The sacral chakra is very architectural. Can you say it that way to me? But there's something about your vision where you're able to create it, and it may not be perfect or it may not be legible for somebody else, but for you, it's therapy. It's therapeutic. And be creative about how we're creative, you know. This helps as well. This is grounding. It's therapeutic. It's clarifying. I hear peace be with you and peace be with us. Very much standing in the creator's energy right now. That's also why creative energy is so important, like being creative, because you are a creator of your life, and it's enhanced at this moment as more of this knowledge comes on board for you into your conscious awareness. So as it's enhanced here, it's like you practice almost, you exercise that muscle of creating your reality through just creating anything, you know. All about balance, balance in waiting, balance. A lot of twos, a lot of balance energy here, a lot of harmony, union, integration that comes with two as well. Threes, options, fives, limitations, but also the opportunity for abundance and growth through limitation. This is the magician as well, so there's just a lot more coming into your awareness here. And because of that, you're able to create a different reality. You're able to create a different vision for yourself in a way, or version of how things are, a different version of yourself even. A lot of it has to do with focus as well, what we're focusing on, right? Think less repression, less restriction, less of less. Think less of lack. Think more of integration, of adding. Sometimes we look at, I have to stop that, I have to get rid of that, I have to suppress that, and do this instead of, I'm going to make more room for this. But not more room like I have to clear. And sometimes clearing helps, of course. I'm not dissing clearing at all. Clearing is amazing. But sometimes we're looking too much lack. We need to look more, add, integrate. In addition, it's like a meal. You decide, I'm going to eat more. I'm going to eat more vegetables in this meal, or more of the healthy, fat-full parts of this meal. They're just so delicious. I'm going to eat more. You actually end up having naturally less room for other things that you could have wanted to eat with that maybe weren't as exciting for your body all the time. Which, again, all food is amazing. I love all food. Food is great. But just as an example, let's say you eat more of the delicious garlic, oily green beans and fatty, healthy main dish, whatever it is for you. The really good, nourishing stuff for your brain and your body and your gut. And it's so delicious to you. And you're so focused on that. You even order maybe an extra different vegetable with it. And so you just have less room for the fries. Fries are great, again, but just, And so it's about when you add in, you actually automatically create space, and you don't feel such a lack coming from that. You don't feel like you had to stop or restrict or let go. You felt like you were so excited and into the deliciousness. I don't know if that's the best example, but into the deliciousness of that meal, of that process, of that food, that you just didn't really leave as much room for the other stuff. It feels like this here. It's like the more that you just, it doesn't take anything away to focus on new or creations or what you really liked that happened that you maybe want more of, like that you really, stuff you really enjoy, that you want to see more of, that you love. Like, it doesn't take away to focus on, it adds. And when you add, you automatically start to move forwards and start creating something new. And naturally, those things that you're not as interested in, they lessen, but without having to feel that lack and loss. It could be explained a lot better, I'm sure, I'm certain, but I'm trying to get that through the right way here. Okay, let's see, any other message? Nature's wisdom also is showing up on the bottom of that deck, even though it didn't come out. And I just feel nature wants to heal you right now. And we always look kind of at what nature can give us, right? But we actually also give a lot to nature. I feel when we listen to her, when we just focus and appreciate her and listen to her and understand that our breath in, yes, does take, so too does our breath out give, it gives as well. And we connect to ourselves when we connect to nature. Nature's wisdom here. Beautiful energy. There's so much about the nature. So much here. It's so grounding. It's so beautifully nourishing. So accepting. So forgiving too. So forgiving. Can also be a great mirror. A great mirror. Can also be a very good reset, de-vibrational healer. Trees literally can heal us so strongly. When I was a lot younger, I had a very intense night out where I took a lot of things and I did not feel good the next day. And I remember from all the things I was coming down from, this is many years ago, over 10, 12 years ago now, maybe even longer. But I remember I couldn't be inside. The only thing that helped me, and I was so sensitive at that moment because of all these things I'd taken in from just where I was at in life, from having no sleep, from being exhausted, from having my brain just kind of fried. I just was, at that moment, just a lot was happening. I was very in a place in my life too where I was very exposed and a lot was happening. But being under the tree all day that I was the thing that brought me peace. And I mean, that's such a small example in a world of examples for all the people. But yeah, it's such a strong thing that just the trees and the leaves and the vibration and the feeling of it could be that loving and that nourishing and that respectful and that connected and that sacred. It's like when we were kids too, it's so similar. I don't know about everybody, but I just would play in the forest and the trees. I had a little house or a little platform that my grandpa had built me up in one of the trees. The forest just glowed green back then. And I would just be up in that tree just connecting to the world there. It was like a real friend. Our imagination was in use. That muscle was being used. The connection was so strong, so there. I think deep down we crave and miss that a lot. It's really kind of the definition of play, to use the imagination in that way. And as adults, it's shunned a lot. It's the irony, but it doesn't need to be. We don't have to play the same way. I mean, we're a different spot now. We can play in a new way. But just interacting, just being with what is around us or what we are able to access is a version of play. And to stop worrying so much about what the neighbors think, is also something about that. I know not everybody can or has that luxury to stop worrying about what the neighbors think. I do see the world for what it can be. But there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way to find a safe space to be more free again and more connected again. Even on TikTok today, I saw a video of a cat, which, by the way, that's, sometimes we really need to limit the time on the phone. It can really drain. I love the phone again. I appreciate her so much, but it can really drain when we're on too much, the mind and stuff. It's not the phone's fault, but it is just the vibration of too much of something, especially media, which is very stimulating. But yeah, this video was just a cat with a little go cam on, and she was just stopping and looking at like a hummingbird, and then a bumblebee, and then some little roly-polies on the ground in the grass. And it was so cute to just see her stop and look, and just observe and just see and just be connected to all the nature just around that's right here, right here at our feet. And I find that so special. Another thing too is, acknowledging. Also, I find that to be, cats are so magical, animals are so magical, and that's part of it. They're really connected to the nature. Even indoor cats and stuff, there's a connection there, it just lives within, and we are too. But the feet, our feet do so much. Our feet are like just attached to our legs, just walking us around all the time. And I apologize if you don't have that same experience. Then for you, you'll have to use another example for yourself of something that you're using all the time. Maybe it's your hands, or maybe it's your mouth to speak, or your eyes to look, But just to start with the feet, because they are connecting into the earth and the grounding energy a bit. They're just hanging out, moving us all around, running, walking, changing direction, supporting us, keeping us balanced. They're just doing their thing. How often do you just sit there and say, thank you, feet? Thank you for being along this ride with me. Thank you for supporting my body. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you, Your feet are doing a lot down there. So anyways, you guys, that's what we have for you for now. I hope it resonated with somebody. You can always email us, frequencyoftheheart@gmail.com. We're doing energy healings and our normal readings. And now we have some video readings that we offer. We always love to connect with you. We would love to connect, okay? So you just reach out if you feel called. All right, much love to you. Take care.